Members-Owned Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, one of these sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here like I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago, yeah, because we didn't do it last week. Father's Day made it so nobody was available, but that's okay. Father's Day is a big deal. I was not judging anybody. It's just, stuff happens. We didn't do it last week, but we're excited to do it. Start it back up this week. Cameron, how are you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be back in town. One of the first times this month, like I'm in town for like extended period of time. So.
Oh, have you been traveling a lot?
Back and forth.
Back and forth?
Yeah, home, out of town.
Where's
a lot of moving around.
Where's home?
Omaha.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, right down the road.
Yeah, that's literally just like what? Half an hour? 20 minutes.
It's like a 50-minute drive, but the way I drive, it'd be like more like 35.
What do you mean by the way you drive?
I'm not gonna lie. I get up and going. Like I get there in like we're getting there in a good amount of time. Like I'm not speeding, but like I'm not waiting
you're moving.
for no slow cars in the fast lane.
You're
like,
moving.
Yeah,
you're moving. That's good. No, yeah, I would say I'm the same. None of this like going anything below speed limit. Like like I'm not speeding. Like I'm going. If you go like 4 miles over speed limit, like you're good.
See,
even more than that, you're fine.
I'm about to say I'll push like 10-ish only on the highway though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but like
if you're on like interstate or something, yeah, I'll go way more.
But like people really do need to learn like the lanes. Like the left lane is the fast lane. Like you should not be going the speed limit or anything under the speed limit in the left lane. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. That, yeah, it more makes me mad when it's like when a semi is passing another semi.
Stores.
It's just like, bro, you're passing this other semi to go like 2 miles an hour faster, and you're slowing everybody else down.
Just stay. That whole lane should be no semis. Like no semis.
Usually there is
no
a sign that's like,
trucks,
if you're truck, you have to be in the right lane.
Like you're just slowing everybody else down.
Yeah, you are. I could see how that can be annoying. Well, we got a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into it. You want to start with NBA talk or Matt Rule?
Let's start with Matt Rule.
Okay, we can do Matt Rule's. Keep it Huskers, and then we'll go. I want to do. We didn't get to talk last week NBA, so I kind of want to get our final thoughts on the NBA season, how the playoffs went, how finals went. Obviously Celtics won. Boo. But anyways, we'll get into that second segment. This time, let's get into Matt Rule because he had a summer press conference on Thursday. It was on Thursday. He talked for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. It was good conversation. I don't think he's going to talk with the media until like probably end July or something like that.
Nah, he said don't call him. Like don't call him until
that was
like
a joke.
during the break. Don't call me.
He joked about that, but he's not wrong. Like I don't think he's going to talk with media until like end July.
Probably not.
So it's going to be a while before we get to hear from him again. But he had a lot to say. My main takeaway from it, I found the talk when he was talking about transfer portal and how he's been using the transfer portal. I found that very interesting. So obviously, like not many players have transferred away from Nebraska. I can't remember the exact number of players that have left Nebraska for football, but not many. Like
It's not a ton.
no, it's like literally one of the lowest numbers in the country. I should have had those numbers pulled up, but everyone listening probably already knows that's kind of been common knowledge. I feel like a big reason for that is about how he's been approaching the transfer portal. When he kind of talked about it at the press conference, saying he's not using he never wants to use the transfer portal to like push players out. Like he's never trying to get players to leave. Myron was always willing to keep players on the roster, especially because the roster went. We'll get into that later. But he always uses the transfer portal to get talent in. Now, obviously, if a player wants to play, they're probably going to leave if they're not going to play at Nebraska. It's just stuff like that happens. But he's never going to push a player out the door. And I found that very interesting because that's just a very welcoming environment. You know what I mean? Like you get these other teams where it's like there's just so much roster turnover, so much like I feel like Matt Rhule is really trying to build a culture where everyone feels that they can be has a part in the team and they have a role.
Yeah, I think it's like a really stark contrast with Colorado and Deion's whole approach. Like I feel like those are two coaches that they got hired at the same time. Yep. And while the jobs and circumstances were different, but like they were both two struggling programs, and just it's been interesting to see so far which route both coaches have taken. And definitely like Rhule is try to build something that may be a little more sustainable.
Yeah, because I mean, Colorado, played a bad TCU team and then beat Nebraska, and then like they were somehow ranked. It's just there's so many people that got on the Colorado hype train way too early, and then you saw when they played Oregon, they're just nowhere near that level.
I mean, like I think I forget who it was, but someone in the media was like making a really good point about it. Like it was just like wild swings. Like before everybody was a little too low on them, and then after they won a couple games, everybody got really, really high. And it was like realistically, they did what probably they were going to do as a team that won one game the year before.
Yeah, you shouldn't have had that high of expectations, but I'm just I think it was just because the Deion Sanders is big names, Shadow Sanders, like just all the big names on that team made it so media was just all over it, and that's kind of why. I really feel like they got ranked because of popularity, not really because of how good of a team they were.
Yeah, I think their skill play is really good, and I think it's interesting because the first year in Nebraska was almost like a flip, almost like an exact flip. Like some of our skill positions weren't quite where we wanted them to, but like our line play wasn't awful. Like it wasn't the worst. And I feel like it's going to be like one of the big strengths of this team coming back is like the defensive line is going to be like really, really good. So it's going to be interesting when those teams play each other early in the season, like which style is going to win out and which one is like further along in building their program.
I think Nebraska's like last I checked, they were like 7-point favorites against Colorado, and that's a big swing after the beating. The final score made it look worse than it was, but
that game probably should have been a little closer.
It should have been closer, but like Colorado won that game fairly easily, and now Nebraska's favored by 7 points. Like that's a pretty big swing for. Colorado has a lot of turnover again, but again, it's like has Nebraska improved that much?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like I think it helps that Nebraska will be at home. So it's like you don't have to send your freshman quarterback into like the Lions Den or anything.
Yeah, if it was at Colorado, I feel it could be a lot different.
Yeah, but I would say 7 seems a little ambitious, but I think they should definitely be favorites. Just like,
7. Yeah, 7. That's about where I don't know.
I feel like it'll be a close game.
It's definitely.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
the tickets are crazy though. Like those tickets are insane.
That's really a game that could go. Like I wouldn't be surprised by any outcome. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska got, destroyed again, or if Nebraska went out and kicked Colorado's butt, or I'm not going to be surprised by any outcome.
Yeah, that's one of the games that's just hard to get a feel for.
Because Colorado's offense could just go off, and Nebraska just left in dust, or Nebraska with Dylan Iowa finally we know how good Nebraska's defense is. They shut down Colorado. The offense is good, and then Nebraska easily wins, or it's a very close game. Like all of those are very possible outcomes.
Yeah, I think one of the big factors in the game would be something Rhule kind of talked about a little bit during the press conference. It's just like Colorado will have a slight edge just because of how much time they'll have before the game, and like the fact that I'm pretty sure I think they play before and like stuff like that. Like just Rhule kind of got into it just during the press conference of, especially with the new teams in the conference, like scheduling and travel and all that type of stuff, where like a lot of things are going to be drastically different this season than they were in seasons past.
Yeah. And he talked about the travel, teams that are on the East Coast having to go to the West Coast or vice versa. And like Nebraska being in the middle, that kind of helps, but you still got to be strategic about it. And Rule, I mean, going into that, he talked about just being a little bit better than every team, and when it comes to like, traveling, transport, NIL, all of this stuff. Rule, I mean, his goal is to just try to be a little bit better. He talked about, when Osborne, Cook, Pettit, like all these guys were just all these coaches just they made Nebraska just a little bit better than the competition at all the small things like that, and it paid dividends for when everything kind of got settled. Like when all this kind of settles down and we get like this is the new normal. If Nebraska's just slightly ahead in all these categories, you'll see it pay off.
Yeah, I think just like in sports in general, like you always kind of want to be on the cutting edge of what's next. Like you want to be ahead of the curve instead of behind. Like you don't playing catch up is never where you want to be in sports in general.
No.
So I think just hearing him speak that way, like about how they want to be ahead of the curve on all these different things, like it was refreshing to hear as like a fan of a team that, to be quite honest, we've kind of been behind in a lot of aspects over the last few years.
That's an understatement in my opinion. But like when NIL started being a thing and transfer portal started being a big deal. I mean, these kind of felt like things that Nebraska could easily use in their favor. Because like Nebraska is just, the way Nebraska is, the culture here, the fans, everything about it. Then you bring in Matt Rule, a guy who has had a lot of success in college, went to the NFL, didn't have a lot of success in the NFL, but still was an NFL coach, like big reputation. I mean, all these things I feel like is going to help attract players from the transfer portal more than we have in years past since, I mean, I don't know, Bo Pelini. Like, I mean, Nebraska just hasn't been that successful in the transfer portal since Bo Pelini. And even then, they weren't even that successful.
Yeah, it's been a while. And like that time in particular was like, you could tell like the teams that took advantage of it and the teams that got like ahead of the curve or the teams that are relevant now, like the teams that are still successful now. Like, I think we have to a slightly smaller scale, but with conference realignment being how it is now and the change in like legislation in schools being allowed to like pay players directly almost and brought like all the big changes that are happening now. I think the teams that get ahead of the curve will be the teams that we look up in 5 or 6 years as the relevant teams that are perennial playoff like teams. And I think Nebraska has like such a rich football history and like it's almost like a sleeping giant in a way, to where if our coach gets us in a position and he can start seeing success and he has the foresight to be ahead of the curve, we can get back to maybe not exactly where we were in the past, but at least being nationally relevant.
I mean, that's the eventual end goal is, be a national championship contender. But I mean, right now, you just got to look. Right now, it's just one step at a time. And, when you have Nebraska fans be like, yeah, I think Matt Rule can be okay, but can he get us, to be national contenders? I'm like, baby steps.
Yeah.
Like Nebraska's not going to go from not making a bowl game since 2016 to national contender in 2 years. Like that's just it's not realistic.
Okay. I agree for the most part. But if there was like a crazy, like wild turnaround to happen, I think this season there's a blueprint for it because one, the schedule is favorable. I won't say
especially
easy,
at the beginning.
No games are easy.
Especially at the beginning.
At the beginning, it's a favorable schedule. So you can get a team that gets ranked, wins a lot of games early. And then if you can just steal a couple down the stretch, like especially the way like the teams work, like the way the conferences work now, I think you'll have a lot of good teams that'll end up with like a lot of losses that just we haven't seen in the past. Like I don't think in like years past, like you get to 2 to 3 losses, it's like, okay, you can kind of pack up your national championship or playoff hopes.
Well, now there's going to be 12 teams in the playoffs.
There's going to be 12 teams, and there's going to be a lot of teams from conferences. And I think you're going to see like conferences like the Big Ten, like the SEC, get multiple teams in. And when you start getting to like the third best team in like the SEC and the Big Ten, like I could realistically see a scenario where they have 3 to 4 losses. And I don't know if that's completely out of possibility for Nebraska. A lot of things will have to go right. But
the expanded playoffs should excite Husker fans, I feel like, because it is hard to envision Nebraska becoming a top 4 team.
Yeah, that's not
anytime soon. Like that.
Yeah, I could say we're a while away from that.
Like, but could Nebraska become a ranked team? Yes.
Like,
and then that's just top 25. And I know there's a big gap between top 25 and top 12, but that feels reachable. That feels like it's in reach.
But like
if you get to be ranked, next up is top 12.
but
It's
there
not top
really
4.
that big of a gap though? Like I feel like a lot of years you look after like 12, like when you get to that 12 to 25 range, I feel
Mhm.
like in the past, like all those teams would be separated by like maybe 1 or 2 games, like 1 or 2 losses. So a
Yeah.
couple lucky breaks, you kind of end up
I
in
mean,
that
luck and
12-ish.
Nebraska
Yeah.
have not been two things that have gone together the last few years.
I mean, that's true, but how long is that gonna last? Like how many one possession
Forever.
games can one team lose? I mean, it feels like it's been forever.
Don't challenge Nebraska. Are you challenging Nebraska? How many they will surprise you.
I think eventually it has to change. Like the ball just has to bounce your way a couple times. And I think if there was ever a year for that to happen, I think this schedule is pretty favorable.
No, I mean, and national media has been on that, saying Nebraska is a dark horse to take a huge step forward and become ranked. Like that is like people are honestly expecting that to happen, and that scares me a little bit.
I'm about to say,
Because-
as a fan, that's never good. You
Like
never
that-
want
like
your
that
team to
scares
have
me.
like expectations, especially when they've been bad the last few years. Like
I mean,
putting expectations on a perennial bad team always leads to like
yeah. I
a
mean,
roller coaster of a season.
if Nebraska would get 5 wins again, I'd be surprised. But
Yeah, that
would you be that surprised? If you would fast forward, Nebraska had 5 wins next year. I mean, that isn't out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, I don't think
It's
I'll
not
have-
going to happen.
I don't think it'll happen.
Nebraska
just think
should
the
get
beginning-
7 or 8 wins in my opinion.
Yeah, like can you pull up the schedule really fast? I want to say like you could almost lock in like 4 or 5 in like the first 7 or 8 games.
Oh,
like you should
no, easy
almost
lock, yeah.
you should almost lock in 5 there. I see it. I don't believe we'll go over in Big Ten play.
Nebraska. Okay, I'm just saying though, this could be similar to last year where Nebraska doesn't win a single game in November. Like that could happen again. That could happen again.
I mean,
'Cause the
anything
end of
could
this-
happen. I just don't.
The
I don't
end
think
of the
that should
year
happen.
schedule is not that easy. I get UCLA and USC; those are kind of teams that I'm having a hard time deciding if
We have one of those at home, don't we?
yes,
yeah.
UCLA.
I find it hard to believe that one of those teams is going to be prepared to come to Nebraska in what will likely be a very cold, very windy, possibly snowy day,
Mhm.
and win like you have to win in the trenches and on outside. Like,
Yeah.
in the cold. I think USC be tough. I think UCLA
I think the USC game is harder.
I think UCLA is very gettable. Like
Yeah, the USC game definitely seems a little bit harder just because it's on the road, and I mean USC decent. They're a pretty decent team. UCLA, there's just a lot of questions, I feel like.
yeah, new coach and like it's
And
the
they're coming to Nebraska.
And like that's a hard it's going to be hard for established coaches that have been at their places to like adjust to like this new travel schedule and everything like that.
Mhm.
But like imagine being a brand new coach, so you have a brand new team and you have to adjust not only to the travel and all that stuff, but
To a new
you
conference.
also in a new conference, so it's opponents you're not used to playing. You don't know what these teams do.
And also, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but again, the weather, Matt Rule talked about that. Weather in the Big Ten is so much different than anywhere else.
When's the last time you seen like UCLA really play in the snow? Like,
Yeah, I'm not saying like we're gonna get a snow game, but again, like just windy, cold
but
games.
like, yeah, like
they don't play
I'm
in
not,
those kind
yeah,
of
I'm
games.
not banking on a snow game, but
Yeah.
like it's going to be like it's going to be different from what they're
It's
used
gonna
to.
be a change for them.
Going to Nebraska in November, like that's
Yeah. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska would beat both USC and UCLA. I would think the more likely thing is they split those.
I think you can count on a split.
I think they split.
Let's
those
go
two.
through the schedule if we.
Okay, we can go through schedule. Real quick, I want to address a text on text line from no longer notorious BIB. He said I would settle for top 4 in the Big Ten this year. We can talk about this before I get the schedule because I feel like top 4. Do you feel like getting top 4 in the Big Ten is gettable? Because what I mean, Ohio State, Oregon. I don't think Nebraska has no chance of getting above those teams. Like that's just it's.
I think you can lock Ohio State, Oregon. Michigan is built like a perennial contender.
So that's what I'm
So
saying.
it's
So
like-
I feel like top 3 is already added the realm. So then you have one spot
Yeah,
to
like,
get top 4.
Well, I was earlier. I was talking about like being the 3rd team in the conference. Like you with some luck, maybe, but like I think more realistically, what fans should be counting on is a middle of the pack finish with a bowl game, like a solid bowl game, middle of the pack.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, is Nebraska better than Penn State? No.
No.
Is Nebraska better than Michigan? No. So that's already 4 teams.
I think you
So
can lock that in. I think
after that, I mean, then you start getting into like Iowa. Is Iowa better than Nebraska?
I mean,
In retrospect, you should say yes, but you never know.
yeah, I don't know about that. You do have Washington in the conference now, so it's like
Yeah, Washington has a lot of roster turnover. This
yeah.
is what I'm
So
saying.
like,
So, like, I feel like top 4 is kind of out of reach. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, it would shock me a little bit if they got top 4, but it's doable. I would say like 5 would be my ceiling. I feel like if Nebraska if Nebraska finishes 5th in the Big Ten, that's a very good
oh
year.
yeah, you celebrate. I think
You celebrate that.
5 in the second year was definitely a rebuild when he took the job.
Yeah.
Like that's an excellent job. Like pat on the back for Matt Rule.
So going to schedule, I mean, yeah, UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa. Those are your first 3 games.
You should
At
go.
worst, you're 2-1.
I'm about to say you should go 3-0. I could see a world where it's 2-1.
I would say, let's just say 3-0. Then you got Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana.
Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana.
I think Nebraska at worst is 2-2, probably 3-1. So this is what I'm saying. Like Nebraska should. I feel like the best
Should
they
we
do.
lose any of those games though? Like
They shouldn't lose, but are you really going to bank on Nebraska winning every single one of these? I'm going to say Nebraska goes either 5-2 or 6-1 in the first 7 games.
I think that's a safe bet. I just think though, like
I think 6-1. I'm going to say 6-1.
To me, if they get out of the first 3 undefeated, I feel like you could have like a serious like momentum thing.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6-1. They start off with, and then you got Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Iowa. Ohio State's a loss. I'm not even going to get into that. Then USC, UCLA, USC. Again, I think that's a split. So then you're already. So if I said they were going to be 6-1, Ohio State 6-2. If you split that, you're 7-3, and then you're 7-3 going into Wisconsin, Iowa. Again, if you split those, then that's 8 wins.
Split those as 8 wins. It's gonna be hard, but like
I think 7 to 8 wins should be.
Wisconsin has a new coach this year, if I'm not mistaken, from Cincinnati.
I'm having a brain fart.
I'll look it up.
You look it up. I'm having a brain fart.
But
this is what I'm saying. Like 7 wins should be like the floor, in my opinion. In my opinion, 7 should be 4, maybe 6. I think you should get 8. I think 8 is what you should get.
I think
Nebraska should get 8.
I think you're satisfied with 8.
I think 8's a really good. I think 8's a pretty good year.
7 and anything under 8, I think you're probably disappointed a little bit. There's probably more meat on the bone.
I mean, yeah, you'd be a little disappointed in 7, but how can you when you haven't made a bowl game since 2016?
Like, I think you're happy with the bowl game. Like, you're like, it's like no one's Husker fans would be after a bowl game. No one's picking.
Husker fans aren't going to be out on the streets celebrating about 7 wins, but I feel like they would feel good about.
I think if you can get to 9, though, there's a decent celebration.
Nebraska starts celebrating, yeah.
But yeah, Wisconsin has a new coach, Luke Fickell from Cincinnati, if I don't believe, air raid coach. So, I don't know how that's going to work in the cold.
This is what I'm saying. So, like, again, I think they split Wisconsin, Iowa. I think they split UCLA, USC. So, I could see 8 wins. 8 wins is if you were to make me putting a gun to my head, said how many wins is Nebraska going to get, I would say 8.
8. I could go with that. I think 8's a good estimate. I think it gives you some room for some games you might not expect to drop. But
yeah. So last thing I want to touch on that Matt Rule touched on was the wide receiver room. There's been so much raving about the wide receiver room, and Matt Rule again reiterated saying he thinks it's one of the best position groups for Nebraska. That's a huge change from it possibly being one of the worst position groups for Nebraska last year. And a lot of it has been developed within, Malachi Coleman, Lloyd. All these guys that have come in just like improving so much, and then adding Dylan Raiola into the mix. Nebraska's never going to be a team under Matt Rule where they're going to be pass first. That's never going to be reality. But this is a team now that when a defense stacks the box, Nebraska can maybe challenge them downfield. You have a quarterback that can throw it downfield, and you have wide receivers that are fast and can get open.
Yeah, like there's serious speed in the receiver room. I think it's definitely one of our strongest positions. After last year, to be honest, that position group lost me a good amount of money last year. I had a personal gripe with a couple of the guys I bet on a couple times. Let me down every time. So won't be doing that again until they show a little bit of improvement. But
Yeah.
I'm optimistic about the group. They look good. I think also Raiola is probably better than the quarterback we had last year. Just from
You're just saying
what I've seen.
probably.
So, yeah, like probably better. Like I think you can.
I don't think. I mean, I don't even think there's a world where it could be worse.
Yeah, so I think.
So this is what I'm saying. So at best it's the same, but all he has to do is not turn the ball over.
Yeah,
and he'll be fine.
And I think
so.
That makes the receivers like he has a.
There's
no matter
better
like,
arm talent.
Yeah.
Like the talent is going to be better. I wouldn't be surprised that the turnover problems kind of stay a little bit just because you have a young quarterback.
I mean, yeah,
turnover problems probably going to stay, but I'm just saying like the talent definitely has to be better. Like you can't tell me there's no way Raiola is going to be a more talented quarterback than Harburg or Purdy.
Like if you stack the box this year, I think you have to like it's going to be a real decision for coaches. Like, okay, we stack the box, but Lloyd and Coleman are out there, and we know Raiola can get it to him. Like.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like Nebraska is never going to be a pass first team, but this is a team that's finally going to be able to punish teams that stack the box. They can go downfield because you have a quarterback that actually has an arm that can throw it downfield, and you have wide receivers that can actually get open. Before it was you had Martinez who couldn't throw the ball downfield. Then you had quarterbacks that couldn't throw it. I mean, again, then you had Palmer. You had a guy that could stretch the field. But I mean, with Casey Thompson, that was probably the best passing attack Nebraska's had in recent history. When they had Casey Thompson and Palmer, but then you had you have not good wide receivers, and then not good quarterback play last year, and that was just a whole mess. So I mean, it's just got to be so much more improved this year. And I mean, you couldn't tell me how many more games would Nebraska have won if they would have just been adequate in the pass game, like not even great, just adequate, just average. Nebraska definitely would be would have went to a bowl game last year. But with that, we're gonna throw it to break. When we come back, we're gonna get some NBA talk, just wrapping up the entire season because we haven't gotten to finish talk about the finals since they've been done here on the DN show. So we want to just wrap up the NBA season talk next segment right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, it's Tom and Mike from Husker Rewind. And did you know that people who are represented by an attorney are often compensated up to 3 times more than someone who is not?
Friedman Law has been helping injured people for over 60 years. It's all they do. If you're ever seriously injured in an accident, call Friedman Law at 402-476-1093.
Friedman Law is a family firm that works hard for Nebraska families just like yours.
So if you're ever injured on the job or in a crash, contact Friedman Law at friedmanlaw.com.
Here you go. Coffee's on me and my new BFF. I thought I was your best friend forever. BFF like best financial friend at Members Own Credit Union. Right now, they're offering $100 when you consolidate or transfer a loan or an existing credit card balance and meet requirements. Plus, you get great rates and free advice from a financial partner that will put you first. That sounds like a match made in heaven. Members Own Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Without a strong IT partner, your business ends up overspending, underperforming, wearing too many hats, complicating your work, and more. Applied Connective Technologies can help with experts in every facet of technology. If it plugs in, powers on, or charges up, they're your people. Imagine being able to call one team for all your technology solutions rather than a village of vendors and providers. For all your needs in managed IT and cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, infrastructure, and audio or video, head to appliedconnective.com to better your business today.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today. Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Vershawn Jackson, the captain here for The Body Shop. And man, did they hook me up with a great massage recently. The captain has a lot of stress in his life, as many people do. And for 1 hour, it was all relief. The team at The Body Shop gave me a deep tissue massage that hit every area that I was in pain at. Whether you're looking for a Swedish massage, sports massage, deep tissue, hot stone, aroma, or more, there's only one place to go. The Body Shop at 48th NA. Book an appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Summertime is here, so get out your grills and smokers. Fairway has all you need for USDA prime or choice cuts of beef, all natural pork, chicken and seafood, and a selection of veal, lamb, bison, and Wagyu cuts. Now through June 17th, enjoy Lincoln's favorite 8-ounce USDA choice bacon wrapped sirloin filet for just $4.99 each. That's all at Fairway Meat Market and the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Cameron still here with you on a Sunday afternoon or night. When does night start?
Night starts in the summertime. I think night starts when it gets dark. So like 9.
Really? So you would consider 8 in the afternoon?
That's right. That's wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
I say night starts after 6.
Okay. Yeah, I would consider like, I feel like 6 is starting to get like nighttime almost.
Like, I don't feel like.
I would say 6 is late afternoon.
Yeah, 6 is late afternoon. 7 o'clock, that's night.
Okay. I'm glad we got that
Yeah.
discussed, because I mean I always wonder. I don't know. It's like, I mean, every time we do our show, it's 5:30. I'm like, is this the night? Is this afternoon? I don't know.
Can it be night when the sun's out though?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so does it change by season? So when it's summer, it's night starts later than in the winter. Is there more night in the winter than there is in the summer?
Technically, yes.
I mean, technically.
I don't know. I think that's a rabbit hole. I think that's
yeah. We don't have time for that because we got to get into some NBA talk, because NBA finals are over, as probably everyone knows the Celtics beat the Mavericks 4-1. Cameron shaking his head because he is a Lakers fan. So he's not happy about that. What quick touch on why Celtics won. I mean, I feel like if you would have just watched the games, Celtics looked like the better team.
I mean, they were the best team in basketball all season. Like
This is coming from a Lakers fan, by the way, guys.
Yeah, this hurts. This really pains. Let me preface everything I'm about to say. This pains me to say, but they've been the best team all season. Like a lot of people are making like something out of the injuries and saying that they got an easy road, which is like, yeah, it would have been tougher if the guys were there, but in all likelihood, they would have beat them because they were beating them during the regular season, and they just have been the best team, and they're the hardest team in the league to guard because they can go 5 out and like legit
they can switch
5 out.
everything.
Like their third best player on their team averages 20 points per game. Like Kristaps Porzingis, a 7'3" center that can shoot threes.
And then you have Derek White and Drew Holiday.
Like
2 defensive studs.
Drew Holiday, like he might not be like top 10,
not like what
top
he used
20
to be.
best players in the league, but like
not even close.
He's definitely like top 20 most impactful players to have on your team. Like the way he changes the game on defense, like it's insane. Like he roams around. Like I've seen a lot of players. Like I've watched a lot of basketball.
You've seen a lot of players. Interesting.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of basketball, but I haven't seen many guys that can like really guard the best player, but while they're on the best player, like actively help and not get burnt. Like, leaving a best player is like a no-no. Like it's like one of the things you don't do on the court. But like he can do it, and like when he does it, it works. So like he's super impactful. Derek White, super impactful. Like they just have probably the best starting 5. Maybe them in Denver, you could argue, but I say they have the best starting 5 in the NBA. They have enough talent off the bench to keep them afloat. And Dallas just seemed like their role, you could tell they had never been there before. Their role players looked shell-shocked for most of the series. Like those guys, like PJ Washington, Steph Curry in the earlier rounds. And as the moment got bigger and bigger, he kind of just shrunk a little bit. So
2 questions I want to ask. One, these have both been circulating on social media, so this is why I want to ask. I know there was a question saying, who would win in the finals, the 2023 Denver Nuggets or the 2024 Celtics?
I feel like that is really hard. I feel like the Nuggets should have beat the Timberwolves so we could have a better idea, but they kind of let us down by losing.
I mean, yeah, going back to that game, I mean, Jokic just in that game 7, they just overplayed Jokic, in my opinion.
20, like no matter what happened, you cannot lose when you were up 20 in a game 7 in your house. Like that just can't not happen.
Yeah. But still, I'm talking about Denver last year.
Denver last year.
Celtics this year.
They were a better team last year. They had more depth. I would say they legit 70. I think that's just such an entertaining matchup because Porzingis is like, if everybody's healthy, I'll lean Celtics a little bit because Porzingis presents like an interesting challenge to Jokic. Like
I think Jokic would move him around, though.
I think he would, but like
just being tall doesn't mean everything.
Yeah, but it gives you a little bit to contest. So like it makes a lot of his little touch shots close to the rim a little harder. Gives him a longer target to shoot over when he does the fading threes that irritated us Lakers fans so much in our series. But I just think that matchup is interesting, and I think Tatum and Brown, like they really like Tatum, Brown, Drew Holiday, like really give other teams best guards like a long night. And I think they would be good enough to take Jamal Murray away. And if you take Jamal Murray away, you can beat the Nuggets. I think Timberwolves showed that. So while they had guys like Bruce Brown and stuff and their bench was better last year, I just think this Celtics team is probably the best championship team top to bottom since the Lakers bubble team.
Okay. I would say Nuggets just because I feel like the Nuggets were a little bit deeper that year. The Nuggets, I feel like had enough size to match up with the Celtics. Like the Mavericks, I felt like
they were too small.
They just were too small.
But I mean,
like the Nuggets had enough talent, top talent to contest with the Celtics, and they were big enough.
The
Like-
Nuggets had size, but like you do have guys like Bruce Brown, and like while he's a good defender, like is he going to be able to stay in front of a guy like Tatum or Brown or even like Holiday's like
Better than
significant-
anyone on the Mavericks.
I mean, yeah, but
it would be interesting. I mean, we forget how good Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. were in that NBA Finals run.
Oh, they were really good.
They were
Like,
so good. And Murray felt like a different player also in that playoff run than this last year.
I mean, yeah, Murray was definitely like he was every night almost. But the thing with Murray is like
because I feel like anyway, continue.
I think he struggles with bigger real athletes like when they guard him. Like I think he kills like the slower guards or like the really guys that aren't great defenders. But like if you get somebody who's as athletic or more and is like has the positional size, like he can't just back down and fade away over. I think it's like a really, really hard.
I mean,
thing to guard.
the Heat were putting Jimmy Butler on Murray, and he was still doing really good.
Yeah, but that's also because like the Heat, like the other defenders weren't that great.
Yeah, but Murray was still getting his own, man. Like it's I don't know. If we're just going top to bottom, I mean, I feel like Murray is better than Drew Holiday. KCP, Derek White. I mean, that's just kind of a toss up.
I think I'll go Derek White.
Tatum versus Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. has the size to match
Tatum.
up with Tatum, but obviously Tatum. I forgot about Jalen Brown. I mean, technically, I beat Michael Porter Jr., Jalen Brown, Tatum. Aaron Gordon can match up with Aaron Gordon's bigger than Tatum, so that'd be interesting. Like if Tatum was having to guard Aaron Gordon like down low, you know what I mean, for like rebounds and stuff. Like Aaron Gordon could dominate the boards for the Nuggets.
I think it's weird. I think like if they would have played the Celtics last year, I think they would have wiped the Celtics. But I think the addition of Drew Holiday and Porzingis like really revolutionized the Celtics team, and like they present a math problem for teams.
Math problem. I don't like math, Cameron.
I mean, yeah, but this is like simple math. Like this isn't.
This is like 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
simple. Like
I can do that. I
the
can handle
Celtics
that.
shoot more threes than you do. So
Nuggets shot a lot of threes too.
no, but the Celtics shoot way more threes. Like they shoot more threes.
No, I agree.
Then they shoot more threes than you do. So like eventually they're going to make enough. Like they're not gonna have 1,000 bad shooting nights in a series. So like if they make enough of those threes that they shoot, like it's almost too much to overcome.
Yeah, I just feel like the Nuggets would have been able to dominate the interior more than any of the teams that the Celtics faced in this playoffs.
I
Like
think
Jokic, Aaron Gordon down low would present problems, in my opinion, for the Celtics. Like if Porzingis is not on the floor, then you're relying on a 37-year-old Al Horford against those guys.
Al Horford played good in Dallas.
No,
series.
he played good.
And
But
I think-
do you trust him against Aaron Gordon and Jokic?
I think so. I don't think Aaron Gordon is that. I think Horford is like he's good enough to like hold. He can hold the fort enough against Gordon to where it'll be.
But what about Jokic? That's the thing.
Yeah, Jokic is gonna have an advantage, but like also like I think Tatum gets a significant advantage. I think Brown gets a really significant advantage, like over whoever's guarding him. Like I think he has a pretty nice day with KCP, and I think they have enough guys to switch on Murray to where it's like, okay, you're gonna have to play the best probably perimeter defender in the league in Drew Holiday, and when he gets tired or when he's on the bench, then you're gonna have to see Jalen Brown or Tatum or Derek White. Like, and I think while the Nuggets were bigger in the starting lineup, I think the Celtics never really had to do it this year. But I think they always have like the option to go bigger. Like they can go Porzingis, Horford, Tatum, Brown, Drew Holiday.
They could. That'd be interesting. I mean, if they would do that lineup, that'd be a little bit scarier for my like.
And then you have Derek White running your bench unit.
Yeah.
It's like Derek White, Bruce Brown. I think it's pretty clear you take Derek White.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a fun series to watch.
It would have been a really good series. I think that's a 7-game series. But I would just probably give the edge to Boston, even though it's kind of against what I normally pick, because I normally pick the teams I feel like will execute better. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like the Nuggets is for a team that just didn't mess up. Like they didn't.
Yeah, like they
didn't hurt themselves.
Yeah, and Boston's like
they would
even
Boston
when they
would
won,
always,
like they'll let you back in the game because they shoot so many threes.
So I'm saying
but-
Boston would there just always be one game. It's like Boston, what are you doing?
But
Like, you just looked like a terrible team right there.
yeah, but like to be honest, I thought Dallas was a better execution team than the Celtics. But
I mean,
we've
to
seen
be
in that
fair,
series
Dallas
it
shouldn't have
is-
even gotten that far. I mean, if we're talking about
Why not?
They did, but I'm saying like
They beat the people
I can't.
who beat
If
the
the
people.
if the Nuggets would just beat the Timberwolves, the Nuggets would have beat the Mavericks.
Are we sure?
I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm
I
sure.
think so, but like there is something to be said. Like, well, at least this year, like I don't think the Nuggets were the same.
No, they weren't the
team
same.
last year.
No.
And I think the Timberwolves were the better team. I think they won because they were the better team. Like they were way deeper than the Nuggets were.
Timberwolves was a bad defensive team, which is very interesting because Nuggets should have been able to take advantage of that. But
the Timberwolves are the best defensive team. Like one of the best defensive teams.
I'm thinking Mavericks. I'm getting my teams mixed up, man. I'm getting my teams mixed up. Anyways, the second question I want to ask, and we got off on a tangent on that one, which great discussion. Real quick, if we're talking about the Celtics, next year or a couple years from now, I mean, who on this team are the Celtics likely not going to be able to retain because money contract? Like
everybody's kind of locked in.
This is what I'm saying. Derek White's like the only one that I can't think of that I can think of.
I want to say even he's locked in for like they're going to probably extend him. Like I think he's under contract for another year if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on that, but he's going to get like regardless. They're keeping him. Like,
but I mean, will he get a bigger payday somewhere else? Is the thing.
I mean, I don't think so. I want to say Boston. Yeah, Boston can definitely offer him the biggest, like the largest contract under extension, like since they have his bird rights, and like it's going to be a really expensive team. Like
this
keep
is what
together.
I'm saying. Like, but they are. This is what I'm.
Boston is shown when they have championship teams, they're willing to pay.
Yeah, next year is his last year on his contract.
Yeah, so
this one and
they're
so
gonna be
Tatum and White are the only ones, and then Horford's obviously going to eventually get too old and not be impactful anymore.
I think his decision is probably the only thing this summer is like, will he retire? Like, are they going to look to upgrade that position? Like,
yeah, but everyone else is on contract. This is like the Celtics have a chance to kind of run the table a little bit.
In a way, yeah, but I think the new rules in the CBA are going to make it interesting because I think like
all it takes is one. This is what I'm saying. So yeah, they're going to have a hard time replacing Al Horford. I feel like.
I mean, I think there's players out there that could play that role,
but they're going to have to give a minimum. Is the thing, with these new CBA rules, like they're just not going to have any money to give outside players.
Yeah, they're not going to. I think personally, I like a couple of the guys they have, like,
and it also makes trades harder.
Like they have. I don't know if they have how long Tillman is signed for, but they have Xavier Tillman. They have O'Shea Brissett. They have Jordan Walsh on their bench. Like they have guys I like. So I mean, to me, like in the short term, I think they're going to be able to keep the roster looking similar enough to be like around as good as they were this year. The problem is I think a lot of the other teams are going to be better, and I think like the other teams are going to get better this summer, and
the Celtics really can't get better.
Yeah, they're not gonna. You're not gonna see no like drastic jump from them.
They have no avenue to get much better.
And like that's the scary thing. Like I wouldn't want to be the first team set going into like a new rule structure and stuff like that. Like other teams are gonna have more flexibility to figure it out. But I mean, they have a championship, so it's like I would like that might be a trade I would make. But
yeah.
Personally, like I would, if I could pick any team to be for like the next 5 years, I would say I would pick the Thunder. I just think they have the most roster flexibility.
They just got Alex Caruso. All right, with that, we're going to throw it to break. When we come back, we're just going to wrap up our thoughts on this show right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Gaina Trucking is hiring for heavy equipment operators and a heavy equipment mechanic. Working at Gaina Trucking is a great career with excellent team culture, with benefits package including competitive pay based on experience, health, vision, and dental insurance, and a 401k plan. If you're looking for a new job as a heavy equipment operator or mechanic, apply online at gainatrucking.com or call 402-794-5000. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking. Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane. Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships, one with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Ironhide Construction is a Nebraska-based general contracting and steel construction firm. Their expert team is experienced in building innovative construction solutions across several industries. While they were previously known for their extensive experience in steel erection and metal buildings, they've continued to evolve over the last several years into a full-service general contracting firm. They take pride in their commitment to quality, cutting-edge technology, and having a passion for what they do. For more information about their services or to discuss an upcoming project, visit www.ironhideconstruction.com or call 402-420-4961.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in for a final segment of the Day One Nebraska show. I hear on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We got some Matt Rule Husker football talk in first segment. We then went into NBA talk this last second segment. Now, just to wrap up the show, I just have one thing to say about the NBA playoffs, because I felt like this was one of the most boring NBA playoffs in a while. I got to be honest.
Whoa.
And it's not just because I don't like the Celtics. It's not that. It's not that. I mean, the Celtics kind of just ran through everybody. And these Celtics games weren't that much fun to watch. Not because the Celtics weren't good teams, because like
they were too good.
They just didn't face competition that matched up with them at all. So it's just like every single one of those games, it's just like, the Heat without Jimmy Butler just had no chance. The Cavaliers, and then especially when they lost Donovan Mitchell, just had no chance. Pacers, then when they lost Tyrese Halliburton, just had no chance. They had a chance at the beginning. I mean, they could have won game 1 and made that a real series, but then Pacers threw it away. Tyrese Halliburton got hurt. Wasn't even close. And then the Mavericks, just like Kyrie Irving just doesn't know how to play basketball, I guess, against the Celtics sometimes. So weird. Have you seen his record against the Celtics? He's like 1-14 or something since he left the Celtics.
He stomped on that Leprechaun. That Leprechaun is bad luck.
I don't know why he did that. But so all those games. So I mean, I would say the most exciting series the Nuggets Minnesota series. Was that the most exciting series?
That was probably for the general public. Yeah, my favorite was Mavs Thunder. I really like that series. I feel like
that one was good.
It was some really good games. I disagree. I've seen a couple people say this, that it was boring playoffs. I think there was a boring finals. I think the finals weren't close. I think the Celtics run in general was pretty boring.
I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals was boring too. After the first game, it's just
that was boring. But
first game was fun.
Knicks 76ers was entertaining. Every game. Yeah. Must watch TV.
Yeah, it's just the Knicks they just got so banged up, and it's
but they won the series. It was entertaining. And then you had Knicks Pacers. For the most part of that series, it was entertaining until the Knicks got hurt.
All the injuries. It just reminds me, when the bubble. There's just so many teams getting hurt in the bubble, just like deciding series. I hate it when that happens. And there's nothing that, I mean, and it all goes back to the rule where you have to play a certain amount of games to get all NBA, all that. I mean,
I don't like that rule.
And you haven't been making these players play all these games, and also you have all these back-to-backs where they're at home for one game, and then on the other end of the back-to-back, they have to go and travel. And then when they're on the back end they're having to travel on a back end of a back-to-back, and then the team they're playing had 3 days rest. And it's just like they have no chance of winning when they're on the back end of a back-to-back and the other team has had 3 days rest and the other team's at home.
Yeah, so I'll say this. 1, I agree with you. I really don't like the rule. 2, I do understand why they did it, though. Like, with the next TV deal coming up, like, there was, like, a really bad thing going around the media with, like, stars don't play enough games, and, like, that's not something you want to pitch to companies when they're about to, like, pay you billions of dollars for a product, like that the product only shows up sometimes. So
yeah,
I understand why they did this year. Hopefully within the next few years, they maybe not get rid of it, but scale it back a little bit, like maybe lower the game threshold. As far as the playoffs being boring, in general, I liked all the Western Conference series. Like, they were all entertaining to me. I feel like
Timberwolves Suns was not.
I mean, that was just entertaining just to see what Anthony Edwards was going to do next.
True.
Like, he was doing the DMX thing to, like, I still can't believe KD let that ride. That was insane. But yeah, so like the Western Conference, that was all entertaining. Eastern Conference Finals and the finals
whole
were
East
not
was boring in my opinion. And I love Eastern Conference basketball.
I like the Knicks 76ers series. I like the Knicks Pacers series.
Yeah, they were okay.
I mean, the East was a little rough this year to watch, top to bottom, like that Orlando Cavs series. Good God, that was NBA TV series if I ever heard of one.
I don't know. I'm just saying compared to like years past. And again, maybe I'm just personal bias because I like the Heat and they just didn't do good this year. But like, again, I've had 2 years ago when they got first round swept by the Bucks. Like, I still thought that was a fun, like when the Bucks won that. Was that 2022? Or is that 2021?
That's 2021.
Yeah, and the Bucks won one. Like that Bucks Suns, like I loved that.
That was a good series.
That's what I'm saying.
I think part of it is no one really likes the Celtics. Like, who wants to see that team win? Like, come on.
Besides Boston.
Like those, I don't even know if they like them like that. Like, forget the Celtics.
All right. Well, that was the Daily Nebraskan show right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Cameron, thanks for joining me as always. We'll see if you're back next week. We'll see.
Possibly.
Maybe. We'll see. Check D on Twitter. You'll be able to see what we figure out with that. But until then, we are out of here. Adios.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet,